What makes you so smart? How are you going to change the world?
No, look, as I was saying, well, first of all, let me say I'm really, really happy to be back in India. You know, I love the country. I'm here 2 or 3 times a year. So I'm thanks a lot for the opportunity to be with you today. Now, let's talk about smart cities, about something else. And I need to tell you first that I hate the word smart city. And the reason I hate the word smart city is that to me, it sounds a bit too much like just a focus on technology. Making cities smarter, but it sounds too much like a technocratic effort. That's why our lab at MIT is called Sensible City. Sensible City, like a city that's able to sense, but also a city that's sensible. But having said that, I think what we are witnessing today is a very, very interesting time when we look at cities. And that is because we could say that the internet that changed our lives over the past 10, 20 years is now entering physical space. The internet is becoming Internet of Things, and hence is allowing us to rethink many urban processes. So anything from mobility to energy, to waste, to water, to citizen participation, many dimensions of urban life are being somehow can be redesigned with this new convergence of the digital and physical world. And I think that's why it's such an exciting time, and that's why I think in India I see a lot of experiment in this space, which is going to transform the way we live in cities.
So, Carlo, the process of urbanization has ended across America. It's ended across Europe. It's nearing its completion in China. It's just begun in India. And in the next 5 decades, we will see about 700 million Indians getting into the process of urbanization. And the challenge is to create 2.5 Americas. We are doing about 100 smart cities right now. What do we need to do to get it right?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I think when you look at that, it's one of the biggest urbanization efforts ever in the history of humanity. And I think there's a great opportunity here, and the opportunity is that when you build so much urban fabric from scratch, then you can, from the beginning, think about new systems that could be deployed. Let me give you just one example. One of the possibilities today is that thanks to self-driving, mobility today could be very different. Today the car is a very inefficient piece of infrastructure. The car is used in the United States on average 4 to 5% of the time, but 95% of the time, not only it's not used, but actually it uses valuable space in our cities. But if you move to a self-driving system, then the car can be used by you and then to go to the office, and then can give a lift to somebody else in our families, to anybody else in the city. So in that case, we can actually turn that infrastructure into something that's used in a more efficient way. And for instance, we would need much less parking space in our cities. That's what most people predict. And so when you're building something from scratch, when you're building so much urban fabric, as India is going to do in the next few decades, then you can, from the beginning, you can start thinking about how to integrate these new technologies in the way you conceive the city. So there's no doubt that the city of the 20th century was shaped by the automobile as we knew it in the 20th century. So there's no doubt that the city of the 21st century will be shaped by autonomous driving and many other technologies that go under this label of smart technologies.